a man could walk around the earth 43.8 times. His nails would naturally grow to a length of 150 feet, and he would need to inhale 3.7 million liters of oxygen. If this oxygen was produced by only 1 square meter of bamboo, it would take hundreds of years. In Western China, a group of people have been focusing on one thing for a century, one thing that could bring benefits for hundreds and thousands of years to come. On January 17, 1953, a young panda was found in the fields of Majiagou, near Yutong Town in Dujiangyan City. The young panda was then taken to the Futou Mount feeding farm of Chengdu Zoo and became the first panda resident. Some say this new resident is an angel sent by God, but perhaps it is more accurate to say it is simply a lost child. Although giant pandas are carnivores, they were drawn to the bamboo-covered mountains of Sichuan, where they lingered day after day, eating bamboo leaves and sleeping in the bamboo forest. A popular song from the 1980s recounts the ongoing story of flowering bamboo, coupled with ecological disaster observable across large areas during that period. The reality of the situation at that time was much worse than the lyrics allude to. Hundreds of giant pandas died of starvation, which pushed this rare species to the edge of extinction. In 1987, Chengdu Research Base of Giant Panda Breeding was established by a group of people with deep passion for the preservation of pandas. Beginning with the rescue of 6 pandas at that time, the long and challenging process of ex situ conservation began. Ex situ conservation is the process of moving this rare species, whose net reproductive rate is only 1.0674 out of their original habitats, and into the breeding and research base, where they receive special protection and management. It is certainly astounding that in the last 24 years, without adding even one additional wild panda, 6 weak pandas have grown into an urban panda club of 108 pandas. These amazing pandas make up the largest artificial breeding population of giant pandas in the world. Pandas have been cared for meticulously in Chengdu for more than 50 years. Just as children who tire after a long day of playing will go home, pandas too yearn to return to their natural home. However, there are many challenges for these giant pandas that have been living in the city since they were born. Will they be able to adapt to a new life in the wild? On January 11, 2012, the Dujiangyan Field Research Center for Giant Pandas will carry out the first step in its mission to release 6 giant pandas to the fields of Majiagou, where the first panda resident of Chengdu was rescued 58 years ago. In the next 50 years, the center will gradually relocate more giant pandas in phases, allowing them to return to and flourish in their hometown of Yutong. The process of artificial panda raising began in 1953. Since then, the first panda resident of Chengdu have grown up into a huge group of pandas, and 50 years later, they come back to Yutong. In these 100 years, it is difficult to imagine how these lovely angels feel about Chengdu. It is even harder to imagine what Chengdu would be without them. Over the past century, we have grown accustomed to these cute companions. Living and breeding in their own natural environment will allow these lovely angels to live for hundreds of years more. And our 100-year relationship with them will become our most cherished memory. A century, from a chance discovery in the field of Majiago to the eventual return home. If we love the pandas, it's time to release them home.